another episode of Inside Access Control sponsored by SIA. Very excited today to have Chris join me. He's from ELATEC. He's the VP of Industry Sales. Chris, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you, Lee. Appreciate the time.
Absolutely. So before we jump into the company and get into, we have a great conversation lined up. Why don't you give a little bit of background on yourself and then jump into what the company does?
Obviously, my name is Chris Randle. I am the Vice President of Industry Sales for ELATEC. I have been in the OEM integrated design business for about 20 plus years. Some of you obviously have worked with me in multiple different facets of your careers. Our real core is working the OEM embedded design and implementing the RFID into that design. ELATEC's been in business over 30 years, and I think it's time now that people start understanding that there are choices in your integrated OEM design for RFID.
I would agree with you. As you know, my background, I'm intimately involved in that as well. And I do believe as the marketplace continues to go, in order to really take advantage of the mainstream side, this idea that the sort of not invented here syndrome has to kind of go away in order for, I think, the company to move as fast as it needs to be as successful. So 100% agree with you.
Well, I was just going to add to that, I think there is a lot of, concern and risk and fear in the market of what's new. And, there hasn't been a lot of change in the access control area for a long time. And I think that right now is the time for, companies to start looking at breaking down those barriers. And, at ELATEC, we have those solutions and that expertise to do that.
Speak to that just a little bit, because I noticed like the images behind you, you've got a lot of things from like, it looks like an industrial robot arm to gaming and to the rest. So can you talk a little bit about the markets that you serve to where your products fit?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So, ELATEC serves multiple markets, from secure print to industrial automation to kiosks to access control. And what we're doing from the industry side, and that is allowing those markets to take an RFID solution, integrate it, embed it into their solution with an open-ended API that they can work with in all of their software. The big struggle that a lot of companies have when they're designing RFID is it's the old, oh my Lord, it's black magic, back in the old days, right? When everybody was so afraid of designing with RFID. Well, at ELATEC, we're going to make that simple for you. We've got expertise. I've got application engineers. We've got software specialists that are going to allow you to do that for your application, customized for your product.
Just a little bit about, so where does it start and it end, right? So, because I think, to be fair, in some cases, and from what I've seen from selling into them, there needs to be a level of ownership, if you would, within the organization. And there is some areas that, that you have to have that level of expertise because it's so important to your business that to sort of offload everything. So I guess and I know I'm talking broad, and there's every application is probably a little bit different, right? So good luck on, it's sort of like, how long does it take to build a house?
Right.
So, but if you look at that, just broadly, what areas does it make sense to have internal expertise, and what areas does it make sense not to?
The idea, and behind any great OEM design is collaboration. So one of the things that we try and do is, as customers come to us, with concerns with, hey, I'd like to be able to access, my door control with, a mobile credential. What do you have? How can you help me? And then really taking that design and growing it from there with the customer. It's a very organic process. And sometimes that process takes quite a while. But I can tell you that at ELATEC, we are not the Queen Mary. We are speedboats. We want to move fast. We want to assist you in getting that product to market, and not just getting it to market, but keeping it in the market, enabling you to change and continue to grow as your market changes.
Are there certain areas within the industry that you see adopting that at a faster rate than others?
I do. I think that there is, if you start looking at some industrial equipment, so robotics, for instance, there is a huge turn in the market right now of really becoming a lot more quick to speed to change when it comes to manufacturing, and having the ability for employees with the right credentials to come up and to access that robot at different times, depending if they're in building F or building Z. With the ELATEC products, we have the ability to read multiple different credentials, in over 60 plus credentials in our readers. So we allow our customers to not be pigeonholed, into one card for building F, another card for building Z, which saves time and saves money.
Save time and save money. I think it's so. I'm wondering how much of this is done based off of old habits or old spreadsheets,
Right,
yeah, or people that sort of hold on to old ways that are done. We saw it in the cloud-based side where this intent that you would never take the servers away, because there's a whole department that their job was making sure the servers stayed up. So if you took the servers
right,
away, it's sort of like, what do I do with my job? And so some of that was just sort of the lack of imagination or repurposing talent, and really just understand. It may even be some people are lazy.
right.
So yeah, so there's a lot of reasons why it could have
Mhm.
happened to that end, but I do think in the end a good balance. That's the other part that I think I noticed. You tell me if you see this is. It seems to always be somewhat of a binary conversation. It's either you do all of it or you do none of it. And
Right.
I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you have some stories. There's also the ability to have a nice balance where, if you really have a nice conversation around where's the value that you need to have internally versus externally and where can you offload things,
Right.
that you see a balance between those. And that's in essence what it really looks like in the end. But the conversations up until that point are just binary.
And Lee, to that point, I mean, everybody has heard the phrase ease of doing business. Simplicity, make it easier for me. Well, that always works on the front end, right? And that's a reason for that. A customer wants to drive that. They want their end customer to have that ease of working with them. And in the access control world, it's always been let's have this one. And that becomes very binary. Hey, it's the tan box that goes on the front of my building,
Right.
and people are starting to understand, hey, can you make it easier for me? I don't need the tan box. Maybe I want something that's going to allow me a neon green box, right? And not that we're taking away anything from that product. We're actually adding to the value of the customer so they can own their own product. And I think in the market, and I'll ask you a question here in just a moment. I think the market's ready for that. I mean, and my question, Lee, that I would ask you is, with your background from where you come from and the years you spent there, what is the hurdle? What is telling those engineers and those designers, oh no, this is binary, I can't do it, I want to use the same old thing? How can we
Yeah.
get past that? What do we need to do?
So I think it actually comes down to the human side. It's more about leadership and emotional intelligence than anything else. We're an industry that's very comfortable in the technical specifications of things,
Right.
but in a lot of ways, I think it's actually the human side of just people getting comfortable with change and things being done differently,
Mhm.
and being able to sort of look outside the traditional box of what they do of seeing how this could actually accelerate versus take away. I've noticed at a handful of places that I've interacted with that when you bring new ideas to them, there seems to be this belief that you're challenging, when instead of maybe looking at it as an evolution of how the business
Right.
will work. And it doesn't mean that what they've been doing is wrong or it's bad. It's just that there's just maybe a different way to do it. So
Mhm.
I think if anything, and I'll take maybe criticism on myself of I've not presented it enough to people in a way to actually to look at that and maybe bring it up.
Right.
We always go to the technical side, like
Sure.
customers need Bluetooth, they want Bluetooth. I've got
Right.
Bluetooth. How much Bluetooth do you want? And they're like,
Right.
well, I've got Bluetooth, and they're like, no, my Bluetooth is better, and
Sure.
it may be better, but
Mhm.
I think it does come down to a lot of times the personal relationships of understanding, okay, so here's how this is going to impact the way you get work done,
Mhm.
and here's why that's a positive, and you should go through the effort
Right.
to tweak the way you do work so that you can
Mhm.
support this better solution that and I know are better,
Right.
but you don't want to because you're afraid, or it might be more work, or
Mhm.
you may be worried your job is going to go away, whatever it might be. What I
Right.
do notice, though, inevitably at some point it's going to happen. So it's not a case of
Mhm.
if or when, it's a sort of a case of how. So
Right.
that's my thoughts on why. Well, why do you think?
I think a lot of your thoughts are spot on. I think a lot of it comes down to, that human interaction, right? Everybody has the next greatest widget, right? I mean, and I can sit here today and I can tell you about all the thousands of features that ELATEC has. And then the next guy can come in and tell you all of their features. But what it's going to come down to is, and I've learned this in the years and years that I've been doing OEM design, is do they trust? right? Are you consulting your customer? Are you helping them to get better? Not just because my Bluetooth is more fancy and my chip is green and yours is red. No, it's, do you believe that what I am going to put in front of you and assist you with your design is going to be end to end? And if something happens to that, are you going to be there to help me? And if you can solve those things, and get past the fear of, boy, I just don't know, this brown box has been great for me for 25 years. No, I mean, you may want a green box, and you know what? That's okay. If I can do everything inside that box and you just want to make it green, then call me, because we'll make you a green box.
If people are looking to get a green box from you, how do they get a hold of you?
So, the best way to do it is probably to email me directly. I would be happy to, discuss with anyone that's looking for, a solution and that wants to get down and break down those barriers. And my email is c.randle, Randle at elatec.com.
And I'll say, yeah, my brief interactions, and there's been a lot more lately than there was in the past with the organization, has been actually really great. It sparked from that chart I created, and then had a reach out from your team. And I've appreciated your approach on how, because some people take offense to those things, other people are curious about them, and you all have shown curiosity, which tells you about the culture of the organization as well as the people that you hire. So the fact that you've been doing it for 30 years is testament to probably the way that you all get work done. So I really appreciate that, and thank you for taking the time to do this. It's been a great conversation. I could tell you've got a personality, which is good. So yeah, I'd encourage people to reach out to find out how you all can help them.
Thank you very much, Lee. We appreciate it. And just please let us know if there's anything we can do to help.
Absolutely.